The Kenya Kwanza speeches at the burial of Mama Mukami Kimathi were very predictable, scripted, and intentional. And from the look of things, I think the political leadership just planned to unleash the UDA goons on Raila Odinga, because everyone that was rising and picking the microphone was firing salvos at Raila Odinga's political activities under the Azimio Umoja. And to say the truth, I followed the event, the ceremony, for nearly 2 hours. The name Raila Odinga, everyone who was coming out was actually addressing Raila and not even maybe expressing tribute towards the late Mama Mukami Kimathi. Totally disconnected with that event, and you would actually confuse it with a political rally. There is a very small mention of what the government did do for us, how we are going to support William Ruto, and then the last bit at the tail end of every person's speech, starting from the juvenile Mount Kenya politicians to senior-most civil servants in the country, even cabinet secretaries like Alice Wahome now crossing the line to play the political card. And to say the truth without maybe favor, I think it's only Raila Odinga whose speech was rich and well tailored towards the event. It was a blend of politics, but you could see the way there was connection between the tribute and while addressing the political leadership that were there. Raila arrived accompanied by Maina Njenga, Mwangi Wairia, Caroline Karogo, Jeremiah Kioni, amongst other leaders from the region. I think the decision to get in when everyone else was settled there was also strategic, just to test the ground and see how the reception will be. And without really, if you follow keenly, I think the reception was very positive. So in this analysis, I want us to break down, because I singled out some 3 speeches that I want us to pay attention to, because I narrowed down to the 3 because they will actually give us a clear picture of what exactly that burial ceremony was to the UDA administration. The truth of the matter here is that they were largely and highly detached. Before that, I want us to take a commercial break. Hello there, Mr. Bold here. Are you looking for quality flowers from Kenya? Then you need a certified, credible, and trusted company. That is why I want to introduce to you Jay's Flowers Limited. This is a company that is currently based at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and they will help you to facilitate acquisition of fresh flower direct from the farm and also process export to the country of destination. It is a big company that is currently serving 7 continents across the world. What you need to do, contact them here. Their number is +254 7433 94945. Jay's Flowers Limited, the home of quality flowers. Now, regarding Gachagua and Ruto, and when Raila arrived, he actually greeted Rigathi and William Ruto. There is of course the photo that has been shared about him greeting the two. That came the backdrop of Rigathi saying, "I will not greet Raila Odinga." Those political statements. But I paid attention to the fact that I think he bypassed Musalia Mudavadi. I don't know whether that was intentional or because maybe he had already passed and he did not. But Rigathi then took that opportunity to ignite the land question, as he had promised, rather sending Raila Odinga to Uhuru Kenyatta about the land question. So this point, they promised that the Mukami's burial will actually present a very prime stage for them to execute the Mau Mau land question.
na nimeshukuru sana former prime minister, umekubaliana na sisi ya kwamba mashamba ya Mau Mau ilichukuliwa na home guards and collaborators. Migunda ya Mau Mau yo irone gati na kamatimo na tukunia, na tungetaka former prime minister kushukuru babako marehemu Jaramogi kwa sababu he spoke about land grabbing for Mau Mau land, na akaumizwa kwa kuongea juu ya mashamba ya Mau Mau. Tungetaka kukuomba kwa heshima, waziri mkuu wa zamani, ukitetea wa Kenya kwa mambo zingine zote vile wanaendelea, tunataka kusikia pia utetee hao watu warudishiwe mashamba yao, na wale walichukua na buda wajua warudishie hao mashamba yao.
Now, can I tell you something? And this one was just brought to my attention. There is normally that group of Gikuyu Council of Elders, and the patron of Gikuyu Council of Elders is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's brother, Kungu Muigai, I think cousin. That team was, that group of elders was totally out of the picture, and they were not anywhere. Someone was just drawing that to my attention and tells you the way the stakes were high. Now, if you want to know who they had just organized public lynching of Raila Odinga in that burial, President William Ruto, in his speech, there was no difference, because even himself, he was in coherence with the other speeches. And immediately when I was listening to the Rigathi, Musalia and the rest, I was eagerly waiting to see the kind of angle that William Ruto is going to take. And there was no difference. In fact, apart from saying the things that UDA are doing and defending the punitive taxes that they are now trying to insert in the budget finance bill of 2023, next finance bill, the rest of the speech was about Raila Odinga and what Raila Odinga is doing right or what Raila Odinga is doing wrong. And then you look at it like, that was the question. Even President William Ruto did not have a profile of Mama Mukami. Let's say that true. He did not mention a profile of the late. The only thing he mentioned is about the husband joining the family for pursuing exhumation, to exhume the body anywhere it is. And I think that is also another hot air plate. But then this is a soundbite from President Ruto.
Na kwa sababu mimi namjua sana, najua ataendesha hii mambo yake pia hii yote mpaka na maandamano, lakini mimi najua itaishia wapi. I know that. Si namna hiyo. So sasa sisi kwa sababu tunajuana, si ndio? Wewe unanijua, mimi nakujua. Tumekubaliana sasa wabunge waende waongee. Si namna hiyo? Wapangane huko bunge, acha mimi ningangane na hii kazi. Hii nisukume hii kazi. Na mimi nataka Bwana Prime Minister, umesema kuna maneno ya gharama ya maisha kupanda. Ni kweli gharama ya maisha iko juu. Lakini sasa si mimi nikichaguliwa, si gharama ya maisha ilikuwa juu? Unga ilikuwa 230. Saa hii ndio imepata hata nafuu. Nimeenda kutafuta mahindi, nimelete, nimepanga. Sasa unga ndio hiyo imefika 170, inakuja ikiteremuka.
Let me tell you guys, the stage was set for it. I followed there was a speech by, it started with Jen Kiara, then Methu, the Nyandarua senator, then Alice Wahome. I think Mutahi Kahiga did not have such a comment. The three and the other speakers, and even that MC, you know, even the master of ceremony, I don't know there is a member of parliament there. He had nothing to say apart from just trying to lynch Kione and lynch Raila. And I think I just felt like everyone was, maybe they needed to be a bit unpredictable. In fact, if there is someone that shocked me, someone that a little bit even changed, is Rigathi Gachagua. Rigiji, after the other people spoke, you were now expecting Riggy to come with fire, but I think he had some handbrake. So, Raila Odinga's rebuttal was actually more composed, and I think he outclassed the whole Kenya Kwanza Brigade, because the whole Kenya Kwanza Brigade were caged into the politics of Azimio versus Kenya Kwanza. In fact, Kenya Kwanza changed that place to be a battleground between Azimio and Kenya Kwanza narratives. But he helped to, one, try to tailor-made his speech to credit to the role that Kimathe's family play. And sometimes you may not like Raila. You may not like his speeches. You may want to call them boring. But again, they are very captivating. And even for the young people who are watching, when you're watching, it's a speech that is a breakaway from the usual rhetoric. There's no difference between speech ya Rigathi, Ruto, Alice Wahome, Musalia Mudavadi. There's no difference. In fact, that those speeches could just be done by one person. But Raila's speech was more of difference, and I think he got them off guard by explaining that, number one, he schooled Kimathe's grandson. Kimathe's grandson is from the mountain, while all those leaders seated hapo mbele are so much obsessed by spreading animosity messages. Number two, that he bought Kimathe a house. So, and that was upon the request. Now, all those leaders that are there, I realized that there is nowhere they plugged in the life of Mama Kimathe. In fact, the family themselves insisted on making sure on Raila Odinga's attendance, and they accorded him the much needed respect. It is, there are two committees, the national government and the one from the county. So the family insisted on Raila Odinga's presence there, and of course much of what was actually being organized. So you could have the difference that at least he did something. Not just all those people there with speakers rising to praise the president for according someone a state function when that person is dead. I'm like, is that even a favor? Even if someone is given a state function, is that even a favor to take the microphone and praise and say thank you for making it a state function? Even if it was not to be made a state function, what makes a difference? Someone that impacted the life of Mama Kimathe when Mama Kimathe was still alive, and someone who then took advantage of her demise, and packaged and offered a state funeral. Who helped? I looked at it and I was like, well, I'm telling you. But then I want to get a grasp of Raila's speech here.
Wakenya wakaungana pamoja. Watu wa Murang'a wakasema, Jaramogi amesema ukweli. Eldoret wakasema ukweli. Mombasa wakasema ukweli. Ndio kaanza mambo yanaitwa Uhuru na Kenyatta. Mpaka uhuru ikapatikana. Uhuru wa Kenya ilikuja kwa sababu ya umoja ya Wakenya. And we want Kenyans to continue to remain united. And Kenyans will be united, we must also speak truth to power. Mwambia truth to power. Hapana tiswa, hapana ogopa. Unaogopa nini? Lakini unaogopa. Kwa hivyo sisi kama Azimio, si waendazimu. Sisi si waendazimu. Tunaweza tukuelewana. Sivyo? Huyo bwana Senator ananiambia mimi ati yeye hakuna sawa, ameangalia sawa. Si nani alituma yeye kule sawa. Huyu Ruto huyo nimefanya naye kazi kwa muda mrefu sana. Yeye ananijua mimi. Kwa hiyo sisi ile akipiga kelele huko mimi naangalia tu. Najua atapoa. Sisi tumesema tumetuma sasa watu wetu jopo kazi. Yeye ameleta watu yake na tumeleta watu yangu. Bana sawa. Lakini sasa mimi naambia ukweli. Gharama ya maisha imepanda. Hapana, leta ushuru mingi zaidi. Hapana, ni weka tena mzigo wengine juu yake.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you straight what happened in Njabini. The only interaction, or rather the only connection between Kenya Kwanza politicians, top leadership and Mukami was the fact that they are government. There was no plug. They totally didn't have an idea of even the profile, or they are not even interested. Let's say it. Raila said we say the truth to power, and we were also so people now in the underguise of saying the truth. The truth to power is this: during the Jamhuri Day celebrations last year, the history was suppressed, and it was made an IT Jamhuri Day, and there is a deliberate attempt to suppress the history. So the UDA administration cannot pretend now that they is so much interested in amplifying the story about the heroes and the heroines, while at the national events, national designated functions, where we are supposed to look back and remember and celebrate these heroes, we suppress the history. Totally, they didn't have a plug. Not even the Mount Kenya politicians, apart from the mere fact that someone can mention the word Mau Mau. And I remember there is an MP who said that, look here, there are a lot of fake Mau Mau stories. The Mau Mau story does not end with the question of land. Let's say the truth. It does not end. And who has the profile? Even those people, the way you're going to do it, it's not something apart from just trying to hide emotions. Now, the Mau Mau narrative was the main agenda. I saw ile nguo yenye MC alikuwa amevaa some Mau Mau, then Kimathi, then who is this? I wanted to check these. There is another photo that we even saw of the Mau Mau team. So it is just about that narrative was the main agenda, clearly for political emotions. Now, there is something that William Ruto, that I think Azimio Umoja needs to look at, and Ledamo Lemekina pointed at it. Looking at the tone, the approach, and the attitude of the leaders there, they are non-conciliatory, and bipartisan talks are just hogwash. They don't mean it, because they're still stuck on the mass action, demonizing the mass action, while we have to appreciate that we are getting to bipartisan talks after Raila ended the mass action. The mass action had ended at one point, that ended. So I don't know why we keep on insisting in it. And looking at the way they were lynching Raila, actually they were just trying to provoke. It doesn't look reconciliatory, because what we would actually expect is the fact that now we have that committee being formed and the talks are going on. We needed to create an environment of reconciliatory, but that is it. The Mukami's burial was just meant for Mount Kenya audience smoothering. Yes, just the usual smoothering. Nimetenga, already 100 million for road construction, the hospital, already a college, museum, everything has been done. It's just for usual smoothing and promising of a better future. And I've always said, if the UD administration can get the luxury of politicking every day and organizing state functions every day so that they talk to wananchi, that will be the order of the day. And so the money that was spent, it was not spent. The state function was not organized in respect of the deceased, but it was organized to provide a campaign platform. That's my bold. Let's meet in the next.